Why you got your jeans on? I figured you wouldn't have jeans on.
I'm surprised too, actually.
I almost didn't. I almost put on shorts.
Are they at least Lee's?
Stop it. Don't even go that way. No, they're Levi's.
I guess if you're going to stay traditional, you know, go with Levi's.
You guys all ready? Let's go. Okay, so we're going to get gas. We're going to go to the grocery store, and then we're going to head on over to the Historic Trails Interpretive Center. It should be really good. They open up in about half an hour, so it should be fun. Okay. You guys ready? Cool. Let's go.
What's that?
This one's us. We were a jolly crowd and laughed heartily at each other's experiences and cheered our lowering spirits by the bright prospects ahead. That was day 40 on a California trail.
Of dams and irrigation, it was a real dangerous crossing. The river was real deep, real wide, and real swift. And crossing the rivers was one of the most dangerous things for the immigrants.
How cool is that?
Hold on tight.
Where are you going?
California. As fast as possible, although I'm not making the pace.
Got everything, got all my belongings.
This is all I need.
We're gonna be gold panning before long.
Even has a sound effects for us. Somebody needs to grease this axle. The young lady that works here said that 360 rotations of the wheel equaled 1 mile.
Come on, muscles.
It's a 50-pound pack. That is a backpack that the early immigrants, a lot of them didn't have wagons and stuff. They couldn't afford them, so they hitched rides and that, and then when they couldn't, they would carry this thing, which would weigh about 50 to 60 pounds. And it's very uncomfortable because there's no belts. It's all just leather and iron. We're standing along the banks of the North Platte River in an area called Bessemer Bend. This was called the Red Butte Crossing. This was the last time, or one of the last times, where immigrants would have had to ford the North Platte River, which at the time was over 300 yards wide. Standing on top of Bryan Hill, immigrants back in the day would have had to climb 400 feet to get up to this point. And I believe it was in October 1857, a group of Mormons that were pulling hand carts as part of the Martin Handcart Company got caught up in a winter storm and died at this point. From the top of this hill, you can actually see several sub-ranges of the Rocky Mountains. So all these mountains out here, you guys, this is like the first time that the immigrants were seeing the Rocky Mountains. I'm standing right in the wagon swales of the original Oregon-California Trail. You can see from that post all the way over here, the wagons would have ridden over this hilltop. This is Independence Rock. After leaving the North Platte River, this was the first iconic landmark that immigrants would have come up to. It was this massive granite stone that people could climb up onto and write their name on it. It got its name because it was said that if you reached this point before the 4th of July, you were going to be fine and make it all the way through to California.
What are you looking at?
Sea monkeys. They're all over the place.
So tell me about this water.
So back in the day, at least according to the quote down there, the people were saying that they had to drink living water. Essentially moss and pollywogs, mosquito larvae, and they strained it through their teeth.
Oh, gross.
Protein.
Fun as kids, but not to drink.
What we're looking at here is what's known as Devil's Gate.
You know that that's a landmark that the pioneers used. They also had Independence Rock, and then there's Split Rock. There's a notch in a rock.
Way out there?
No, way out there.
Okay.
Those were landmarks, all those three, so they knew that they were on the right trail.
Just the ground cover of the grasses kept it insulated. So we're standing in an area called the Ice Sloughs. Back in the day when the immigrants were coming across this area, they would be able to dig down about 3 feet through the grasses and the earth and actually be able to bring up blocks of ice and enjoy it in the middle of July. So right now we're on the eastern half of the Rockies and we're approaching South Pass. Just about to get there. I can see what the immigrants were talking about, how unassuming this is right here. We're standing right on the Continental Divide. We're in the Rocky Mountains here. This is the point between east and west is separated. Water goes east that way, water goes west this way. Fortunately for the immigrants, this was actually a very unassuming, almost a hill-like pass, if you can call it that, and passage was very easy. So when the immigrants got to the top of South Pass, they did what?
They looked back east and had images of faces and friends they left behind, landscapes that were behind them, before they turned around and looked forward to the west.
Farewell to the east! Hello to the west! This is the actual parting of ways, and you can see how there were wheel tracks going this way, and wheel tracks going that way. So what this is to my right is the sublet cutoff, and this is the immigrant trail that leads to California. So for our purposes, we're actually going to the southwest, and that'll take us where we want to go. Technically, the kind of hookup sublet, I believe, goes up to about Fort Hall, and if you really wanted to, you could actually hook up in that direction as well. Most of the people going to Oregon would have taken this trail. So this is called the parting of ways, and aptly so. Up until now, we've been traveling on the Oregon, Mormon, and California trails. This is the official point where we separate from them. This is going to be California from now on. That's why we had to be here tonight. There are other stops tonight, but this one had to be done.
Tony, it's nice knowing you. You're going.
We're going over here.
I want to go to Oregon.
It was
Can I
paper
trade
rock,
you?
No,
I'll
paper
trade you.
rock scissors, and that's the way it is.
Suck.
Yeah, I know. You get a little cold, but you'll get used to it.
And there we go, off to California.
I don't think it's a steering box.
Isn't that the ram assist line leaking right there?
No, how about it's the other side. I think it's the other side. Going down to the ram. Damn. Oh, I see it. It's coming up higher. It's not that. Stop. Cut it. Cut it. It's coming from somewhere higher. It's not coming from that connection. Right. I'm gonna look at these two back things that might be spraying it up. Watch your face though.
Yeah.
Carl, go ahead.
Start it?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I see it. Stop it. Stop. Yeah, it's the top holes. It's just loose.
Yep.
I just need a real wrench. Crescent wrench won't work this time.
Yep. See, it wouldn't be one of my trips if
Always an
we
adventure.
weren't wheeling at night and there wasn't one Jeep that needed to be worked on, right?
Of course. And whose Jeep would that be?
Oh, man.
Sorry, Doug.
What?
Nothing. No, nothing.
I think he was telling you to go to Oregon.
Oh, here's this mumbo jumbo set.
New. Wow.
That sucks. I'm taking it back.
Oh, man. Which one did you need, Doug? Do you have a wrench that big?
I'm going to Oregon. You guys fix this. I'm walking.
He's asking if you have a tool that big.
Yeah, do you have a tool that big?
I didn't have. That's what happened.
I don't think you have that size.
Here. Thank you. Think that's good enough?
Think you're on down. Don't tighten it.
Start it up.
That should be good.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Off.
Yep.
Hold this. Are you ready? You can have that back. I'm giving you something to talk about. You know, it's getting kind of boring out here. There's nothing to look at. We're just seeing cows every now and then. Need a little action.
Well,
We're done. We're
Doug.
good.
Doug, every time you break something, it's always in twos. Break the same thing twice. Power steering twice, transfer case twice, engine twice,
Shut up.
transmission.
Oregon, get over there.
Axle.
Two front axles, two rear axles, two transmissions, two transfer cases. I could have had LS a long time ago. But I wouldn't have had as much fun.